Hello, sir. How you doing?
Oh, I'm so sorry I'm late. We just signed
Not
off
a
our
problem.
morning newscast.
Not a problem at all. So this is just normal news coverage, or you said
No,
you got something special going on?
we're carrying the House Select Committee on the January 6th insurrection.
Oh, sure. Yep.
And Malibu is such a weird place. We're the only municipality the only municipal government in the city, in the entire state of California, that doesn't have an NPR signal coverage.
Wow.
We, the mountains, it's very strange. The terrain here, the coastal mountains block all of the LA FM stations. And
Sure.
even though we're less than 35 miles away from the nearest NPR transmitter, it doesn't come in here. So this station was founded to be an NPR affiliate, but we're too small. We can't afford the dues, and we still act like one.
Out of curiosity, discounting the mountains, of course, how large of a terrain do you cover?
Well, it's interesting. I have some pictures I can upload for you. I'm going to join as a second on a second computer. I have some
Sure.
pictures loaded on that computer I can load. We're really weird here. We're a low power FM station, and like all low power FM stations in the United States, we're limited. Let me turn these lights up. There. We're limited to 100 watts effective rated power, but we're almost 1,000 feet above average terrain with our antenna, given the coastal mountains. So because of that, we actually have a regular listener who lives in San Diego County, 140 miles away. And
Wow.
we also have the coastal, what we call the saltwater coax, which when the weather is right, it can both help us and hurt us enormously. We can pick up in my car radio, I can pick up a 100 watt FM translator from San Diego, which is 140 miles away, transmitting at 100 watts. And that's during normal weather. But I can't pick up Los Angeles. I can't pick up the NPR affiliate that's 40 miles away from us.
Fascinating.
It works both ways because the coax also brings San Diego signals in. Luckily, we're on 99.1, and there's a Tijuana radio station on both sides of us at 99.3 and at 98.9. So there's nobody between us on 99.1. So nobody's coming northbound. So we're lucky. There is, however, a 80,000 watt FM station on our frequency, 80 miles to the east of us at 6,800 feet above sea level. That just kills us anywhere there's a direct line of sight, which thankfully is not most of Malibu, but part of it is. So Malibu, I'm going to show you some pictures in just a minute, but first I have to join the other meeting. And I apologize for being late. I was going to set this all up and join in twice. I'll be there in just a second. I'll show you our coverage areas, and let's see where I need to join. Let me find an invitation to the meeting and sign in a second time.
All right. Either that or I'll make a host of this one.
I got it. I need to join with this computer, but I can't join with this computer. It's coming. Hold on.
While you're doing that, I propose that we get this up there. You're coming in. I propose we get this party started. So
let me get a little cool drink.
She doesn't want a fair or bipartisan investigation.
Oops.
She wants a political
I'm getting
one.
January 6th.
Right. That'll be us.
In December of 2020, Nancy Pelosi was made aware of potential security threats to the Capitol.
I think you're hearing C-SPAN radio there. Sorry, let me get rid of it.
It is a fact that the U.S. Capitol Police raised concerns, and rather than providing them with the support and resources they needed and they deserved, she prioritized her partisan political optics
the
over
newest
their
account
safety.
that you signed into.
The American people.
Yeah, I'm frantically trying to figure out why that's happening.
Nancy Pelosi bears responsibility as Speaker of the House.
I'm just going to mute it quick on our end. We can
I
unmute.
think that was C-SPAN radio. It should be gone, but yeah, keep that one mute. You don't want any audio from there anyway. Great. So if you switch this monitor, this one here to, this will be where my graphics are. And this one with my underarm will be my face.
Okey doke. Officers, any other business of state to discuss before we get the party started?
The only thing I saw was we had the SBE newsletter came out, and our website got the award for best site, for lack of a better way to say it. So
Woo!
kudos to Mark for his diligent work, even without my picture.
And he has been on you for that.
I know. I don't like my picture taken. I have rights. If you look for me, there's that one picture of us with the when they had what we had earlier yesterday. We had the meeting over at the Shoreview. I am in the picture. Good luck finding me, but I am in the picture.
Okay, challenge accepted.
Also, for SBE members, the election, they sent out emails regarding that for national. So if you didn't get anything, check your junk spam filters.
Cool. Also, welcome, Bob. Very glad that you, excuse me, glad that you're able to join us. Same goes with our friends at KBUU.
Hey, yeah, I was going to start the whole thing in Russian, but it wasn't going to be that good of a joke. So anyway. Добро пожаловать на праздничный встречу. Да, конечно. Okay, so yeah, glad to be here. Zach called me last minute and said he is on a hot project and cannot pull away, and he apologizes. He said, you can handle it, Bob. So we'll see. Oh my God, another Chinese satellite coming over here. Let me shut the equipment down here. We're in the comm center over here, you know. Okay, I've been snagging little Chinese microcube satellites here, shooting signals through them. Okay, so anyway, yeah, I will tell you anything I possibly can if it's of any value, and we'll go from there.
Great. Why don't we kick things off with KBUU, since they managed to sneak in first.
Great.
I don't have.
If you can activate screen sharing for this one with my hand in it.
Yep. Hang on just a sec. Let's see. Let's try
This one.
Yep.
There you go. Unmute. I'm going to stay muted here, but I want to screen save. Okay. Let me see if I can do that. You guys see my screen? No?
I see.
No, you see me?
I see still your face, but your face is coming from the camera down below.
Right. The one where my finger is how do I make that screen save?
I think you're going to have to activate the audio from that. At least
Activate audio. Okay. That's going to
because otherwise it won't acknowledge that host privileges are coming from that computer.
Okay. Okay. So now it's unmuted.
Okay.
And now I share screen. There we go. Right?
Now I got it.
Great. So see my little funny picture? No?
Yep.
Yes?
Yep, we got it.
Okay. So this is, I've never done screen saving on this. So screen sharing. All right. Well, here's KBUU. There's our modern day studio. KBUU is licensed for 100 watts ERP as an LPFM. And we are located in a terrain where there are coastal mountains along the Malibu coast. And the Malibu coast is a curved coast. And the best place to be with our antenna would be at 100 watts at the very point, covering as much of Malibu as possible. Problem is that's protected environmental area, and we can only have a 18-foot high tower in it. So what we, are you sure you see the graphics I'm showing?
Yep, I'm seeing something that almost looks like a Doppler radar.
Okay, let me organize that. Guys, I'm sorry, I had this intended to be set up as a stack so that, well, that's one of them. That's the other one. So that I wouldn't be doing this. But, well, our current transmit location is where it says KBUU-LP 2. Let me see. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm sorry. I've got one graphic with all this laid out that I'm trying frantically to find right now. No, that's currently not it.
Will be on line 1 from X.
I have to talk to them later, Dan. I'm sorry. Thank you. Sorry, guys. This is not the way it was supposed to be. Okay, well, we'll go with this. Okay, can you see my coverage map there on the left?
Yep.
Okay, that on top. See the contour line that looks like a two circles that we call the magic sombrero. That's our area where we're entitled to put out a 60 microvolt signal or a 0.60 signal. That's where if we were in an Iowa cornfield, that's what our directional antenna would cover. What we actually cover because of terrain coverage, you can see in the red and the green on the top illustration. You can see terrain blockage is a substantial problem for us to reach the inhabited part of Malibu, which is north of the ocean. The coastline runs east-west here. So we put our antenna as high as possible to get the maximum coverage area, like any smart FM engineer would do, but the mountains are blocking us. Currently, we're putting in 2 boosters, one at either end of town, which when we'll be activating those will cover what the bottom one shows. Now, what does this have to do with solar? Here's what all this has to do with solar. In 2018, we had a major fire come through. The Woolsey fire took out 1,600 houses. It took out 480 houses within the Malibu city limits, which is about 1/10 of the housing supply. We were on the air transmitting. There's only one road in and out, and that's Pacific Coast Highway along the coast. Canyon roads were blocked with downed power lines and stuff. We were on the air for 18 hours before the fire hit here. The fire started 25 miles away and it was blowing in our direction. We knew it was going to burn out to the ocean. What we didn't know was that it was going to be 16 miles wide. By the time the fire crossed the freeway, we were telling people overnight, this was at 2 in the morning, the freeway is 15 miles north of us. If it crosses the freeway, we're doomed. It's going to burn into Malibu. It crossed the freeway at 5:15 in the morning. At 8:15 in the morning, it burned through our power lines and we went off the air. At 10 o'clock, it burned our studio, which is in my house, where I'm speaking. I was able to put it out with a garden hose. The studio, the transmitter itself didn't burn, but we lost our power supply. Our power supply was commercial power from Southern California Edison, delivered via an underground conduit from a nearby ranch house. The ranch house burned down, the power meter burned down, we're dead. We got back on the air 8 days after the fire, as soon as we could get up the road, as soon as they could clear the burned trees up to the mountaintop. Transmitter was functioning. If we got a generator to it, it would have been running. It took us 8 days to get a generator up there and running. It took us so long because in order to get our air signal from here to there, we have to use a three-leg system, a 3-leg STL, and the power was out at all 3 of those. We had to get 4 generators up and running, which we did. And we were back on the air 8 days after the fire. KBUU is the only FM signal that you can pick up in most of this area that is not from San Diego or Tijuana or sketchy coverage from Los Angeles. So getting this radio station back on the air with emergency information was very important. Keeping it on the air became a major challenge. And that's where solar power came in. We found out that given the regulatory environment in California, Thanks. My wife, Diane. Solar companies didn't want to help us get power. The only commercial systems we could find, the only vendors we could find are interested in feed-in tariffs. Because what they do is they will sell you a big solar system that'll power your entire house and feed back electricity, surplus electricity to the power company, and they will finance that based on the money that you earn by selling power back to the power company. And they get a piece of that. Every single solar vendor I called, and I don't know anything about solar power at the outset, didn't know anything. They wouldn't help us. We were too small. We wanted a small solar array up at the mountain to keep the radio station on the air instead of running gas up there for the generator every day. Long story short, I needed to be off grid, even though I'm in the middle of Los Angeles. So I eventually found an outfit in Nevada that deals with ranches that would sell me what I needed and would design the system. And what they designed were 6 panels, a total of 320 watts on the panels, 319 watts that they were generating, that fed into an inverter, that fed into batteries that were 1700 milliamp hours, I think is the rating of them, that have kept the radio station transmitting ever since we installed them in August 2019. And I'm not an engineer. I don't know how any of this works. I don't know what the measurements are. I just know that it worked. And it cost us $17,000 for the transmitter. We have 2 relay points at the mountaintops that get our STL from here to there. We're using Ubiquiti 5.8 gigahertz Wi-Fi radios that take very little power. Ubiquiti sells this thing called a solar point, which you plug 2 panels into it. You plug that into a solar regulator that we bought at Harbor Freight, and 2 car batteries hooked in parallel for 24 volts. And that keeps that system happy. And we just, after a year and a half, went off the air for the first time when the batteries failed. And we were charging them up overnight, charging them every day and discharging them at night. The marine batteries that we bought at Costco failed. We took them back, exchanged them for $1 each. So we're back on the air with that. Now we're figuring we're discharging those batteries every night. They're not going to last forever. So now that we have power back at those 2 sites, we're going to charge them with an off-the-shelf 24-volt battery. Now, if you're looking for a description of something that SPE people would be interested in, like what are the measurements, tolerances, lengths, and all that, I don't know. Plug it all in together and it worked. But there's Bob. He knows.
Bob, you might be muted there.
Yeah, I was muted anyway. It was giving me time to write some notes down here, and so I can address this stuff and get some SHIT together. Wow. Well, continue though, and give us your whole picture. Is that it, or was there more you wanted to say?
Well, I try to keep it as short as possible. I mean,
Yeah, sure.
If you have any questions, please go. But that's the view from 30,000 feet.
Yeah. So, well, I'm ready to start my spiel or start a talk here whenever it's appropriate. I do not have a PP because I'm just spreads thinly among many projects, but I can address any of these issues in detail right here. So if you're done sharing screen, I can show you a little bit of the stuff here. I just threw some images in a box over here, and if we share my screen, let's see, do I initiate that from here?
I'll get to you just a second. I just took the credentials away from her.
Oh, I got share screen over here. Let's see, host disabled participant screen sharing. You're going to turn me on for screen sharing.
Yep.
All right.
Right there.
Okay, and I'm going to. I got a couple of screens here, so let me see what happens. Oh, come on! Now you are the host. I see that. Hostess with the mostest here, and we are going to share that screen. And now you're seeing all y'all, right? And then I'm going to bring up some pictures. And I just threw some random pictures in here. Here's a shot of our tower and our array at the mountaintop. This is 2,500 watts of German solar panels with an extra 100-watt panel for ventilation and blowing, mounted on top without puncture with cinder block weighting. This is an old AT&T relay tower that was bringing all the phones into Hot Springs until it was abandoned 20 years ago. We have a 10-year, $1 a year free lease on it. Our antennas are up there, multiple antennas with a 26-mile line of sight coverage in the basin here. When we were, why that's not showing. So where we're building our studios, basically, we have 3 storefronts. I realize we're in the opposite regulatory situation as California here and pricing situation until, well, the Californians are dumping in here and as well everywhere else in the country, gentrifying everywhere now, including us. But these storefronts were bought for $22,000 each, 3 of them in a row. And we now have a brew pub, pizzeria, and radio station in the same facility with a performance stage. So we initially were putting in our STL link, which I guess I can get rid of this here, and pouring cement and all this kind of stuff for a little STL link in the back. And in the inside, basically, we had nothing but like blown out floor, blown out ceiling, leaking, metal roof falling down. And we built a new floor and sandblasted the whole place and created multiple studios and other rooms, ancillary, the bathrooms, ADA compliant stuff in this space with rubber insulation, in between the framing. And we just put a tilt over Roan 25 tower in the back for our STL. There's Zach Smith, our general manager. We're all as well ham radio operators here, so we have sort of a ancillary communications going at all times. And let's see if there's anything else worth showing here. And I built a brain for this thing that it was rather novel, a control brain for the whole thing, such that, okay, let's see, anything else to show? No, you can take off screen sharing. I'll turn it off. Hello. Come on, big screen. There we are. All right. Oh, so good. So to minimize cost, what we did was, I've done this before. I built KUHS-LP in Austin, which is a community station down there. So learned a lot from that and how power structures fall apart when you try to be ecumenical about things. So we have a benevolent dictatorship controlling this one here. Me and Zach, everything goes through us, and we better represent the community that way rather than being taken over by various concentrated interests, which is what happens normally to public community stations. We ran 4 beer busts for a profit of average of $2,500 a pop. We did a Kickstarter campaign, got another 10K, and for a total of 35K built this station in that space. We have the exact opposite situation with the antenna situation, which is we are on top of a mountain, and thus we are regulated down to a couple of watts ERP, but our line of sight transmission is well within the entire demographic bowl of Hot Springs, which is probably a population of 55K inside of a 5-mile circle. So we're coverage-wise, we're very good, except for penetrating buildings and such like that. We'll probably move to another situation when our lease lapses, so they'll end up putting other digital radio systems up on that tower at the end of our lease. The solar power system has was spec'd, and I teach solar at National Park College, so I can help you with any aspect of all of this. I'll go back to the brain. The novel system there is that we don't use microwave STLs. We're using absolutely just microwave TCP pushers like the ubiquities, but we use cambium because in densely populated RF areas, the ubiquities are a dirtier signal than the cambiums, and we need to really be clean to respect our other RF neighbors. So the cambiums are the same price point, same technology, same implementation, $120 a node, and we're shooting a couple hundred megabits of internet up to the top of the hill, and that provides us command and control as well as audio paths using barracks, little Swiss audio encoder interface boxes that put the audio on the internet on TCP and route it up there. So everything's been very happy. We've been running almost 6 years without a blip. We had one blip. The system basic design, we design, when you design any of these off-grid systems, you design for 4 to 5 days of no sun, which is an average across the US period where you might be encumbered with 4 or 5 days of modulating density, overcast conditions, not a zero charge, some zero charge days. So we designed for 4.5 days. I designed this for 21 days of of no sun. And we hit that 2 years ago. We went over 21 days and we dumped. And we have a generator backup that we can bring up there, but it did hold to design. The brain as well as an implementation of an Arduino with voice control, so we can have complete voice feedback over a separate RF link that we use. Hit touch tones, it reads back the transmitter temperature is, the batteries are 85% charged, the blower is on, the door is locked, blah, blah, blah. You need to reboot anything, can do that by touch tone control over the brain that I designed and built for this thing. So we have a nice command system for $100 total cost, that kind of thing. Our microwave link system was $240 total cost. Our transmitter was $1,500. Antenna was $200. Coax, $100. And our solar system up the mountain is 2,500 watts. So it is overrated by a factor of, it called for 4 panels, we have 12. Called for 2 batteries, we have 8 sealed forklift batteries. So we have a very long cloudy condition emergency capability. And we're all ham operators, so we all have ancillary local information feedback systems coming in that we can tap into in case of a real emergency. At the station, we have 19 330 watt panels providing power down there, and a battery backup system, which does not hold for quite as long, but we also have generator backup there. I can give you any of the numbers on the solar systems as far as exactly how to calculate how many batteries or whatever you need on that kind of system, or how many panels you need. Okay, we got some audio coming in there.
Yeah.
And we have 75 DJs. I don't know all of them. And we have programs coming in from Brazil and other stuff, and people go in there with their phone all the way to LPs, and it's pretty much an open format. We don't really have fundraisers. Our overhead is $1,000 a month, and we're able to get that in donations from the city without any fundraising. So that's basically our picture. I'm talking to you on solar power, been on solar power since '76, and I can give you anybody a free course. I took my course off Amazon, and I posted the entire thing to YouTube. So if you want to take a solar course for off-grid and a little bit of on-grid from scratch to everybody's going to ask you the questions about solar power, take my course, and it's on green power videos on YouTube. So, it's about 5 hours of lectures and pictures and graphs and all that stuff. And really, it's very straightforward. It's very easy to understand, the kind of thing. So that's our basic schema here. We've had, it's gotten quieted down with the DJs for a while. We've been doing a lot of automation with our Mac and Megaseg automation, but DJs are coming back in and everything's looking good. The funding's good. And if we have to move towers, we're looking at getting free an old fire observation tower from Alabama and building that at the station as our station tower. So that'll be one of our next projects coming up. Questions?
This is Joe. You obviously sound like you don't have to worry about any kind of ice coming off your towers and all that, because it's such a short height compared to common stations.
Yeah, no. We do have a 500-foot tower next to us with 38 kilowatts of Christian radio, and some ice might fall off at it. And we do have ice storms here, but I'm not concerned with. I can replace the entire antenna and coax for $300.
I'm more thinking on the solar panels.
Oh, yeah, right. Well, I've got 2 panels out there from 1976. First 2 panels I bought when I lived with my parents, and they're still cranking, and they've been through a lot of hailstorms. And I have never had a cracked panel from hail or anything. Never.
I mean, for slightly off topic, I'm again kind of contemplating doing it around my house. The guy down the street from us, he just put in 24 panels, I think, on top of his garage.
That's appropriate amount for a house.
And I just don't know what the costs are and all that.
It depends on where you are, and a lot of scamming. I can tell you the range right now. It's just like any other hot topic. There's a ton of scammers out there. They're using third-party financing, and they're like zero down, and you can get it on the new program. In our state, there's no program. They're using this type of financing where you'll just pay approximately what you pay in a bill for the next 30 years, and they'll make the money and you won't. And so what you want to do is find a private contractor in your area, and it's pretty much about like putting up an above ground pool. It's extremely simple. The batteries and all that stuff for off-grid is complex. Grid tie, where you're snapping connectors together and mounting panels on rails, is moronically simple. So, I mean, there's nothing to it. What you're looking at is if you were to hire a local solar crew, if you're in a state that's amenable to that, that wouldn't be California, New York, New Jersey, Florida. You have to be in a more rural state where there are honest contractors and not a lot of red tape. And you can, I would say that to replace a $175 electric bill at the national average of 10.9 cents a kilowatt hour would cost you a net of about $11,000 after rebates with a private contractor. And with a, zero down, blah, 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 $35,000.
Yeah, because we're up in Minnesota, Minneapolis, Twin Cities area there.
That's a good place.
Yeah, and for mine is like my garage is at one end of the house. Of course, the power coming in is on the other end of the house, and it all came down to that. I was looking at maybe doing an electric car, but then I realized I only have a 100 amp circuit breaker, so I mean that I have to change that service and all this stuff. It starts adding up really fast, And
yeah, it depends on if you know an electrician, because they have got a jumpsuit on with their name over here, and they will not come out for less than $1,000. They're going to hit you for something. But if you have a connection on that, what has to be done is quite small. If you had to replace your entire breaker box for the house, yeah. But if you're just looking to eliminate electric car charging, that is an average of 160 kilowatt hours a month usage for average efficiency, Tesla or Chevy Bolt or whatever. And that would require about 4 solar panels, period.
Yeah, and even mine and my the electricity comes underground in our neighborhood here.
That's fine. You have a breaker box. They put 2 more breakers in the breaker box and 4 panels up on your garage, and you'll cover the $18 a month worth of electricity that you're using. I have two electric cars here.
Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate your information. It's one of those things I'm just mulling around before I present it to my wife more and to find out what's what.
Just find private contractors and an electrician you can network into, and don't go with a third-party financing crap. Yeah,
no, because up here, I guess we have one of the bigger ones. It's called All Energy, I believe, is a company up here and all that kind of stuff. But like I said, it's just kind of, I never jump into anything too fast anymore.
Yeah, well, the rebates are, maybe extended by Biden. They were being rolled off by Trump. So we'll see if they're reinstated or extended. And they're sitting at about 21 or 23% right now. So there is a bit of a timeline on this, because that's a considerable cashback offer.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they're like Kruger ends. I mean, they're some of the only things of real value. I mean, if push comes to shove, seeds, solar panels, and vodka are very valuable things. They actually do something.
Yeah, well, if you mind, I may get your email later to chat a little bit more about it.
You can have ask Bob questions at Gmail.
Say that again.
Ask Bob questions at Gmail.
Oh God, okay.
Self-evident. So yeah, if I can help with anything like that, like I said, Green Power videos on YouTube, should be able to get to it. My entire course is on there for free now, and just take notes, slowly go through it, review. It's all there. There's only 2 numbers to remember. Take your electric bill, how many kilowatt hours you use average a month, multiply by 7, and that's the amount of watts you need in solar array to make that amount of electricity. 7 times your average monthly kilowatt hours. And the only other number is, if you're charging with batteries, you need 25 times in amp hours the amount of current that your panel is putting out. So you determine how much power you need, how many thousands of watts of panels you need, how many amps that is out, multiply that by 25, and that's the amount of amp hours of batteries you need to withstand 5 days without sun.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, really, boil it down. That's it, man. That's it. Bada bing. It's not magic. I thought hundreds of systems, like thousands of systems globally came off of my course for sure. India, everywhere. We have a solar charging businesses in Africa. It's so cute. The guy I gave him this design for a panel on a kiosk where you lock your phone in there and it charges up off the panel, and you get 25 cents, and they come and get their phone later charged up, because they have to rent car batteries over there, charge car batteries, and bring them back. They have cell phones, no place to charge them. So, stuff like that. There's so many fun applications, So anyway, that's our thing at KUHS. We were attacked, well, so firstly by the local stations when we first came on, because they're all what I call Rush Limbaugh 4-packs. You know, the AM station is paying for the right-wing stuff on the AM station is paying for all of the FMs because they don't make enough revenue to exist. Really, they're barely making it. And they don't have any choice to carry local information, emergency information, and we're completely scot-free. Immediately, we're carrying emergency information. And so they were, you know, they had nothing to gain and only to lose. But luckily, we have stayed non-political. We play music and we try not to ruffle feathers because, you know, we're in Arkansas here. Enough said.
Yeah.
I mean, we have no restrictions, never been, and people are flooding in here, you know, to party without masks on and everything else. And now we have a bunch of Californians and Texans who came here on vacation and buying up properties because, yeah, it's extremely that we don't have property tax here. So how about that? How about that? You know.
Wow.
All right, onwards. Anyway, ask about questions, email me any questions. I'm glad to answer one. I'm a zealot, as you can tell. So, and on the broadcast stuff, there's transmitters of all sizes at all price points, and antennas at all price points, and coax. One of the expensive things you got to deal with. I just got a 450-foot roll of Andrews over here at a closeout for $200. Man, you just watch for the sales on this stuff and snag it, you know. And then who wants some panels? Who wants some coax? We do group buys of panels too. Overruns from projects. They go, we got 87 of these, and we got 39 of these. I'll give them to you for 40 cents a kilowatt hour if you take them all. And then I go, who wants 10, 20, 30 panels? Meet us at the docks down there. They're going to bring it in the semi, and we all throw them in our cars and trucks and take off and share these group buys. So that's another way. If you're going to do an off-grid system for yourself, like my whole comm center here, which I call it, is on a completely floating battery system, and the house is on the grid tie system. So this room does not go down, you know. So if you want to do off-grid systems, take my course, and then look, and I'll tell you where to look for bargains. You know, yeah. Anything else out there? And learn how to program an Arduino. Very useful thing. All right, quiet on the Zoom front. Back to our moderator, Taylor.
What, it's just me spitballing here. What, do you see any additional solar panels coming your way, either for either station, aside from your transmitter site?
Well, we're okay. We're okay right now, but occasionally I do get, you know, people tell me of offers because I'm not looking for anything. If I start looking, then I'll call up EcoDirect and Wholesale Solar and go, hey, what do you guys got? Any partial orders left? What do you got? And same with the batteries. Go to Industrial Battery Supply and go, hey, what do you have? Because I don't care what size it is or what voltage it is. Some order, the guy didn't pick them up and you want to give them to me for half off, I'll strap 6 volters together into 12 volt. I'll build a box around whatever shape you got. I just want to bargain on them. So there's bargains to be had when you're about to buy. Then we scan the whole market and go, hey, who's out there? And by the way, stay away from Sun Electronics in Miami, Florida. It's a scam house, a solar scam house.
Question in the chat. What all do you have your Arduinos? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right.
Arduino, yeah. The Arduino is, I'll show you one here. It's just a computer that's this size that costs from $3 to $11, depending on whether you want one that's sew into closable. You want to sew into close, you want to stand alone. A grad student project in Italy developed a extremely small cost microcontroller. And the same with the Raspberry Pi. It was a thing out of Britain, same thing, an extremely low cost computer. So, and I got I got tons of Raspberry Pis around here. Raspberry Pis, I don't know, for those who don't know what these are, British, $35, a complete computer. Here it is. Plug a keyboard in, a screen in, and you have a functional, great computer. And they just keep doubling the power and RAM and everything, and they still charge $35. So they're on like quad or 8-core now, some kind of crazy thing. But these are used for dedicated purposes. Whenever you see an outdoor art display with moving stuff, whenever you see something that needs a little brains, but you're not going to throw a $1,000 computer at it, you throw an Arduino or a Raspberry Pi. So Arduino does not have a visual interface. The Raspberry Pi does have, like, it looks like a Windows kind of interface. If you need a Windows interface, you use a Raspberry Pi. If you want it to just do something for you, you use an Arduino. And it could be as simple as The glowing light on top of our tower that goes like this, I threw a $3 Arduino in it and put the blinky program in it to just make the LEDs go up and down. They're that cheap. It's a computer controlling the bulb, but they have shields that go on top and add like MP3 capability. You want to be able to play MP3s, fine. You want to put a camera on it and you just snap more toppers on it. And these are ubiquitously used as dedicated microcontrollers, Raspberry Pis and Arduinos throughout arts and sciences. So if you have a handle on programming, especially Arduinos, the idea here, and I'll capsize this into 90 seconds. All computers look at the outside world in either a digital or analog format. Is something on or off, 1 or 0, or an analog format? What is the voltage from 0 to 5 volts, indicating I'm half full, 3/4 full of water, 75 degrees, 89% humidity, generating a voltage out of a sensor from 0 to 5 volts. This 0 to 5 volt output of a sensor, whether it's temperature, humidity, whatever the heck it is fed into the inputs of these computers, like the Arduino. And it has digital inputs for going, is something on or off, or analog inputs to go, what is the linear level of something you want to measure in a sensor of whatever type, humidity, any kind of possible sensor you can buy for these things for $3, $4. So if I say I want to see if the blower's on up at the transmitter, I have a little switch that's on a little vane, and when the wind comes in from the blower, it closes the switch and causes a voltage to go to the input of the Arduino, and it says pin 1 is at 5 volts. That means the fan's on. And then it generates the MP3, says the fan is on. So the computer looks at the analog and digital world, brings in the information, makes decisions based on that. If pin 1 is on and pin 4 is on, that means the door is locked and the little switch is closed on. That means the blower is on and the door is locked. Generate the MP3 file that says the door is locked and the fan is on. Check the temperature of the transmitter. Ooh, that has a 0 to 5 volt output corresponding to 40 to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, if it's between 1 volt, 2 volts, read out this thing that says it's 27 degrees. If it's between 4 and 5 volts, read out this MP3 file. It's 89 degrees. It's all my wife's voice coming back at us. So it looks at digital things or analog sensors that are looking at the analog world that we experience around us, and then decides to either close relays to turn something on, turn on the AC because it's too hot in here, turn on the fan because there's too much humidity in here, turn on the MP3 player and turn that transmitter on to send that message back to Bob, generate an email that says, oh, the transmitter's too hot. So you're looking at the outside world in the digital analog format, and you're generating actions based on either the closure of relays, which can run power to things to turn things on and cure that problem, or you're generating emails or messages or vocal things or turning on radios or whatever you want to do in the real world. Input, output, decisions. That's the program, the decisions. So that's how all these microcontrollers work. Fairly clear?
Another question we got here, how long do the panels last in sub-zero temperatures?
There's no difference in the service life of a photovoltaic panel in any temperature. The failure mode on photovoltaic panels is the destruction of the silicone polymer that coats the back of the panels. So if you had substandard Chinese panels, which don't really use pure silicone, they use some crappy plastic, and you put them into the jungle and they got up to 120 and then back down temperatures and flexed so many times that plastic would crack eventually, cause water to get into the back of the panels. The normal service life of a panel is 35, 45 years. The output will drop by 15% within 15 years, and about 25% within 20 years, and about 35% within 35 years. So my 45-year-old panels are probably half output. But I've never seen one crack. The only single time of the thousands of panels I've been responsible for putting in has been a rock thrown by a lawnmower on a ground-mounted panel. That was it, one. Never seen a cracked one. Because they're tested for steel ball drop at like a meter of a 6-ounce steel ball. They're tempered glass.
Hans, I kind of cut you off a little bit earlier.
No.
Question I
Yeah, do you have a question?
asked. The question
I'm learning a million things from Bob.
The question I threw out there earlier was if either of your stations were envisioning something else in terms of solar power, and Bob gave his answer. I wonder if there's any future plans you have on that front.
Yeah, absolutely. We're getting feedback now. I'm very curious about putting the studio onto solar power. And we've got some parts laying around that are left over. And I'm going to shoot an email to Bob in just a minute to ask him what I should do. Thank you.
Sure. Just throw money at it.
Well, we're in a weird situation because we're upgrading with these boosters, and the boosters we're hoping to we're debating whether to go 24/7 solar on them or just solar in case of failover. We don't have to worry about lengthy cloud periods. We get sun almost every day.
Right.
And
so wait a minute. You said are you using microwave relays or are you using Ubiquity?
Ubiquity.
Okay. Yeah, and the charge controller, any charge controller that Harbor Freight sells, throw it away.
Okay.
Yeah, the cheapest ones to get are the MPPT white Chinese charge controllers off eBay.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. They actually work. I've replaced $500 charge controllers with those things. They're radio quiet. They don't generate a whole lot of hash, and they're reliable. And they work. And so the white ones are. You'll see them when you go on there. Yeah, and the idea is that and the traditional type of charge controller like you bought there, the voltage of the panel is much higher than the voltage of the batteries. And to lower the voltage down to 15.5 volts to charge it, it burns off the extra voltage in a heat sink on the back and dissipates it in the form of heat. An MPPT controller takes that extra voltage and converts it into more current to get 100% of the power out of the panel. So you'll get 25-30% more power out of the panel using an MPPT controller. It doesn't waste the extra energy.
Interesting. Well, we seem to have enough to keep the panels hot. So, I mean,
yeah, you're good, but this will give you more days with, if you were to have storms come in for a while. Anyway, they're just for $25 each, replace those charge controllers.
Brilliant.
Yep, and your batteries sound good. The panels are okay as long as they're not from Harbor Freight. And, you're probably fine. I mean, it works or it doesn't work. It's working. Yeah. And you're a multiple hop on the Ubiquities. It's a pain in the butt, but it's doable. We're
about 99.5% up, but we've got a plan. We've put in a set of real microwave 11 gigahertz stuff for the school district on our tower for them to relay communications, and they're giving us internet off of that. So we'll have a second path for backup for the Ubiquity stuff.
Good deal. We were just advised against them because their signal wasn't as clean as the Cambiums, which was being used locally. And we have so much extra capacity, we're giving internet to other services up on the top of the mountain from our setup with another dish going to the other towers.
Exactly. That's how we get our relay points, is by giving those intermediate points internet service.
Cool.
Because these are homeowners who live up on a mountaintop where there's no fiber available from the telephone.
Super cool.
And we're saviors to them.
Right. Well, that win-win.
It puts us into the WISP business, which we don't want to be, because when something goes fluey, they call me at 11 o'clock at night saying my internet's out.
Yeah, well, and you're in a highly regulated environment. Here, the answer is usually yes. We need that tower. Can we borrow that tower? Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah. It's like, wow, I came from Austin here, and it's like the answer there is no. So.
Well, the fire changed that here in Malibu. Now the city is saying, what can we do for you? And that's a big difference. Now I can use city equipment, and we're moving into that direction.
Great. Because there's a lot of redundancy, and they all want their private little thing going on. But cooperation is always beneficial.
What's most interesting is in putting these boosters in, getting away a little bit from solar. For our low power FM, we're building a single frequency network using Gates transmitters. And in order to do that, we're using synchronization equipment, intraplexers, and
that's what you have to do.
Or FMXI stuff, really cutting edge stuff that I'm learning a lot about. But
you're pulling a time signal off the GPS and synchronizing the signals exactly so they don't phase cancel. It's good on you. I mean, we could, if we had to do that, it's a huge pain in the ass. There you go.
We're learning that these things have enormous IP complications.
That is.
The IP connections is incredible. There's a network of patch cables back there that all have different IP addresses that we had to set. That took us 2 weeks to figure out.
Oh yeah, you really need a real network guy. Zach and I fight that stuff. We force it to work, but it's always a giant pain.
Absolutely. And when we put these two boosters in, we're debating whether to go private LAN or public internet
Right.
relays there, or both, which would be better. But we're adding cost and we're adding enormous complexity.
Wow. Well, your terrain is such that you have to do that.
We're looking at our master IT blueprint would have about 35 IP addresses once we're finished for all these things, and they all have to talk to each other. And there's
Almost need a
bit rate
network guy
issues.
there. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. You know, one mountain looking over a bowl, that's a lot easier.
My network guy is at the Olympics at NBC right now, so we're totally screwed.
Yeah, I would sit back for a while. Yeah, I'd kick it back for a while because I mean, I fight that stuff. It's like 47 Advil job, you know. But eventually it yields. Like my wife says, you'll get it. You'll get it. Don't worry.
Well, once it's in and working, it's uncanny how well it's working.
I know. Right. This is sitting here almost 6 years now. Amazing. I mean, $120 a node. Holy crap.
Well, I'm very interested to learn what you were talking about, the ubiquity stuff and not being clean, because we haven't experienced any problems there. But we don't know what we don't know. So
yeah, well,
you'd
create interference for other people, and then eventually possibly for yourself, because you're in a high complexity RF environment there. Guaranteed, there's a shitload of people shooting internet around there.
Yeah, when we first set up our first ubiquity dish up on the mountain, we pointed the dish up, looking at it with a laptop, and we were seeing City of Long Beach Public Library, which is 55 miles away.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I just set up a satellite ground station over here for myself, messing around with these little Chinese and Russian micro CubeSats that are up there. You can relay through them and stuff, and I'm tracking them with the antennas. And I'm going 1,800 miles with a 5-watt signal when we're line of sight going into space like that. It's amazing. Like, we try to shoot these low power signals through these trees and these valleys and stuff. And I mean, when you have no obstructions, that's just crazy, you know?
Boy, do I have a list of questions for you offline.
Okay. Shoot.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's why I have that email. So, all right. So,
any other questions from the
any topic, any tech topic, whatever. Yeah.
Going once?
Are you, hey, Bob, one last question, I guess. Are you seeing any significant improvements in the efficiency of the solar panels themselves yet?
No. Let me just, hold on. Karen, Helen, I got to call you right back. Okay. Just 1 minute. Okay. That's an important call, though. I got to call her back. No, what's happening is decreasing cost at the same efficiency. If you want 35% efficiency panels like they use on the space station, they're going to be $10,000 a panel. If you want the 40 by 60 inch, 300-watt panels that everybody buys and they turn massive quantities of, you're going to pay 50 cents a watt. You know, we were paying $8.50 for those panels 6 years ago, scratch and dents, under $100 now.
Wow.
So the price drop is insane. So it makes the system, it's the cheapest form of energy. And that's why they're fighting us with these tariffs, these monthly charges and crap, and all these ALEC generated laws to make it not financially feasible to put in home solar, because believe me, the big boys with the money are making these farms as quick as they can. There's no smoke coming out. What happens if it gets hit by a hurricane? You got to put on gloves to pick up some broken glass. That's about it. Come on. This is a no-brainer. So I'm testifying at Public Service Commission often against these punitive taxes that they're trying to hit homeowners with, you know. And on the electric cars too. I went to register these cars, $660 to register these cars, because it's a punitive tax against electric cars now. Another ALEC written law to make people not buy them. You know, I don't care. That's not going to stop me. All right, y'all.
What's your email again, Bob?
Ask Bob questions, plural. That's the easy one. Ask Bob questions @gmail.com.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah. Today I'm making a non-lethal protection device with like strange ultrasonic pulsing and strobe lights and stuff you hold in your hand here. This is a crazy idea I had a while back. We'll see how that goes. All right. I'm out of here. I got to deal with that. That's an important call.
All right. Appreciate it, Bob. Thank you.
All right. Take care, y'all. Glad to help in any way possible. Call me. See ya.
Well, thanks, guys. I learned more than I would hope to in this meeting. Truly valuable.
I'm glad everyone did. This has been a lot of fun. Appreciate your time as well, Hans. And
Well, I wish I was as technically versed as Bob, and I'm sorry I didn't have my stack prepared. The news coverage this morning threw me for a loop. But I do have pictures of the solar panel found if you want to look at them, my installation.
yeah, we'll happily take that.
Okay, they're on, let me figure out how to share this again. If I unmute this, how do I share? Share screen there. Okay, you need to give me share screening for that one.
Right here, I hope.
Yeah, there we are. And do you see that?
I do not see what you might be trying to show. I fear that might be like screen sharing / host capabilities might be linked to audio.
There we go.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, there is my beautiful wife. She actually helped build this. That's 1900 watts, 6 panels. The batteries are inside that blue container, which is a Craftsman brand rake shed that we bought at Lowe's Hardware, painted green and plopped sideways on a cement panel. The transmitter is a little bit up the hill. We put the panels on top of a little bit down the hill so they wouldn't get hit by wind. The Santa Anas that hit us across our mountaintop there at above 100 miles per hour routinely in the fall. All those trees are dead from the fire. The fire did not take out my pole. In fact, the fire didn't even melt the coaxes on my pole there, or in my little traffic light box, which is my transmitters inside there. So we placed it just right so that the trees wouldn't burn it. Those are oak trees that all burned. But anyway, we have conduited this. You guys know more about how this works than I do, but the panels and the inverter and the batteries are in here, and they feed 110 volts up through a conduit up to the transmitter, which is about 30 feet up the hill. We have now commercial power at this site. So the inverter that we selected will fall back to Edison, Southern California Edison, if the batteries fail. So when we got back on the air, we were using portable generators 24/7, and we quickly discovered that was a big waste of gas and time. So we put golf cart batteries up in that traffic light box you see behind us with a small alternator, and those keep us on the air for 18 hours. It would run the generator for 6 hours and then coast, put enough gas in for 6 hours. And that would keep us on the air 24/7. Those are still there functioning as, in essence, a UPS. So if we have 3 power sources now, we have Southern California Edison, we have the batteries and solar that you see here, and then we have batteries inside the traffic light box that you see up top there. An Econolight traffic signal box. I've seen them on the side of the highway everywhere. Perfect for a transmitter. We don't need air conditioning here. The ambient air never goes above 90. And on a really hot day, the cabinet goes up to about 105. And I'll go up there and open it up and ventilate it just by letting it blow. We don't have ice either.
Well, I just want to say that it's good to hear that you guys are still actually doing radio for the community, not just the MIC radio that everyone else does in the industry nowadays.
Yeah, well, we're actually an all news radio station mornings from 5 in the morning until 9:30. We do 15 minutes of local, then minutes of network back and forth. Our networks are the BBC, the California Report from KQED in San Francisco, and then the local NPR station gives us Los Angeles news. Then we come on with a 15-minute Malibu newscast and a surf report and traffic report. And the surf report won the Los Angeles Broadcasters Golden Mic Award for best weathercast. We're very proud of that. We routinely set the agenda in Malibu. Malibu is a very, very strange community. You read about Malibu and you see the TMZ reports and stuff like that. That's half of Malibu. On the other side of the road, the mayor says it's the coyote just ate my cat Malibu. That's us. And it's local government, public safety, schools, Little League, all those important things that we really that our community news. That's what we do. And we're automated rock from 9:30 in the morning until 6 o'clock at night. And then community hosts do their shows from 6 o'clock until midnight. They do them from home. Even before the fire, we didn't have anyone in the studio, even before the pandemic. Everybody does their shows at home with the consumer grade mics, and they feed the files into my mixer, my server. And then we have an Enco automation system that plays it all. And we sound like a lot bigger than what we really are.
Any other fun photos to share from the collection?
Yeah, I do actually. This is what it looked like after the fire. That's that's a stables behind us there. This is erecting that's the pad for the batteries and erecting the frame for the batteries. You can see this ridge. There's one to the east of us and there's one to the west of us, and that's our problem. Malibu is behind those ridges. And I'll show you some more pictures. Let's see. That's the dish at Santa Monica High School that feeds internet to us from 26 miles away. That was a test that actually worked. That one, sorry. Sorry guys, I'm not an AV person. Let me show you what else. Yeah, these show our boosters and what we're dealing with. Our main transmitter is KBUU-LP, that hatch mark there, and this is our one. This will be a 4-watt booster at the Civic Center that will cover the eastern end of town, and we'll put another booster at the western end of town, which I should be able to show you. That's this one. Or the western end of town. And all of this is to amplify a 100-watt signal. And we're really making that's our current. Bigger. This is our current, and you can see the booster on the eastern end of town will cover all that wide area along Pacific Coast Highway. That's downtown Malibu. Right now, we don't have a signal in downtown. This will give us that. Then the western signal will cover out where a lot of people live. There's a population center out there. Pardon me. And our transmitter, this is the Point Doom area, Malibu High School. We have decent coverage there. But wherever you don't see a city grade signal, there's a 50,000 watt Class B grandfathered station 60 miles away, hammering us from the east. And to top all of that off, when the E layer is tropospheric ducting, we get a country western station from Lubbock, Texas. That just kills us. The FCC right now is considering a petition for rulemaking that would allow stations under certain circumstances to go from 100 watts to 250. It would allow us to apply for a power increase to about 200 watts. It would not increase our coverage area, but it would mean we'd be able to get into buildings. Right now, we really don't. One interesting thing, the city of Malibu, we got caught when the fire came over the hill, and there were thousands of people who slept through it and didn't know it was coming. So the city of Malibu has hired a consulting firm to try to figure out how to wake people up. Sirens, do we put in civil defense sirens? Well, they did a big study, $60,000 acoustic study, and the answer is no. Sirens won't work when the winds are howling at 100 miles an hour. People close their windows, you can't hear the sirens. So how do you wake people up? And they're looking at a series of boxes that are being used in Alabama for tornado warnings. And Alabama Public Radio they're using their RDS subcarriers, and they're transmitting signals on the subcarriers to set off alarm clocks in houses across Alabama, the tone, and then people can go turn on the radio and hear the tornado alarms. We're talking about doing that here. My problem is that even with our boosters, we're not going to have enough signal strength to activate those alarm clocks inside people's houses. And, you know, if the FCC would let us do it, what we would do is take down the main transmitter and put in 5 boosters up and down the coast and just transmit at 10 watts close to people, and we'll still cover the same area. Of course, the FCC has never approved anything like this. We would have to, it would literally take an act of Congress to do that. We're not trying to expand our coverage area. We're just trying to cover the city of Malibu. This radio station does not sell advertising. We don't sell underwriting much at all. We don't make money. Nobody's paid. We're not doing this for money. We're doing this for an emergency warning system and to broadcast public radio to Malibu. The emergency warning is first. And you know, we're trying to come up with a system to do that. We're currently entering negotiations with the city to build these 2 boosters. And our next step would be to build another 2 boosters. The FCC will only allow you 4 boosters, 2 boosters, but we're gonna ask for 4 just to cover this area. But here's where the single frequency network becomes so important. Can't put in all these boosters if they're not transmitting a synchronized signal. So that's why, you know, we're our annual budget is $8,000 a year, and we're putting in a $75,000 system of synchronized radios to get around that. How are we paying for this? We're selling T-shirts. Anyone want to buy a T-shirt?
Members, any other questions?
I talked your ear off. Thanks for asking. I wish I knew more about your questions.
How do we buy the T-shirts?
Oh, I wasn't serious, but if you're serious, KBUU, find KBUU on Facebook.
Another comment, necessity is the mother of invention, as you well illustrate. Kudos.
Yeah.
God bless your service.
We're on, we do stream. If you want to give us a listen to it, our main audio is on KBUU, is on radiomalibu.net. And our secondary audio service is on a via streaming. Hard to find, but it's just a surf report. We're using our HD2 just to replay newscasts and to do the surf report in the mornings. And, you know, we figure, hey, people may want to drive down the road and hear the surf report on the way to their surf point. And our HD2 is doing, we're getting the SFN, the digital radios to do HD radio. That's a bonus. So what the heck? Goodbye. Thank you all.
All right. Good place to leave it. Thank you very much. Appreciate the time and effort.